Back in 2014, I was being coached by a guy named John Meadows, Mountain Dog. You got to look him up. Got a great YouTube channel, great website. Unfortunately, John passed a few years ago, but his legacy lives on. He was one of the quite a few phenomenal fitness mentors, coaches that I've had for myself. I've had a great coaching tree that I came from as far as guys that were deeply entrenched, competing at the highest levels. But I went to John that year. He was already coaching me for a few years. I was coming off my first patellar tendon rupture. I said, John, I want to compete again. I hadn't competed since 2008, and I want to pack on some muscle. He said, great. Where's your body fat at right now? I don't know. It's 15, 16. He said, we got to get to 10 to 12%, between 10 and 12% before we start packing muscle on. Now, at the time, I wasn't even doing the intermittent fasting yet. That was going to follow a few months later. And I said, what do you mean? That's lean. What are you talking about? I'm coming from the old school world. If you got to bulk and then cut, bulk and then cut. He said, the more insulin sensitive you are, the easier it is to put on muscle. And this plays right into the hands of the Panda Diet. It's all about getting you insulin sensitive, healing your insulin resistance. Now, when you are more insulin sensitive, think of it as like a traffic director. Call it calorie partitioning, nutrient partitioning. When those nutrients come into the body and the insulin sensitive body, hormonal profile, and we're pretty lean, they're much more likely to go to the muscle cell and to restock glycogen in the muscle and the liver, which is going to help us put on muscle, right? Train harder. And it's this expansion, contraction, right? Part of the Sling Shot, my Sling Shot theory, when I help clients and students pack on muscle. Let me say this too. I've had hundreds of clients lose body fat and put on muscle following my program. As I was saying, most people come at me with, well, what do I have to eat to put on muscle? The right question you should be asking to put on muscle is, how should I be training to put on muscle? Everybody wants to overlook this fact because everybody's set in their ways with their training. And they copy somebody else's training protocol. They do it, not realizing that, guys, if you're pretty much within a tight range of variation in your workout, not applying a new stressor, why would your body continue to pack on muscle? So let's understand this. Putting on muscle is an adaptation to a stress. We're trying to get a stress response. We hit the signal, the muscles, the nervous system. Man, that was really hard. I better come back bigger and or stronger next workout. This is the game. So if you're continuing to go in using the same weight at the same tempo, same angles, all this stuff, same volume, same frequency, your body is no longer going to respond by putting on more muscle. So first and foremost, we have to address that, which I will get to. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to tell you where to get one of my free workouts, probably different than anything you've done before. It's a 4-day-a-week workout, but we will get you the link if you wait to the end. Free workout, download it, try it. So the insulin sensitivity, that is a key thing. Insulin is the most anabolic hormone in the human body. Unfortunately, for most people, the anabolic effect takes place within the fat cell because they're so insulin resistant. And when insulin's raised, you can't lose fat. Impossible. Which to me is still amazing that so many fitness experts out there don't understand that concept. They just want to overlook that. Had you eat 5-6 times a day. Does not make any sense. It's all simple, guys. So get insulin sensitive. Now, a lot of people say, how do I get enough protein? How am I going to eat enough following what you lay out? I happen to have a huge, voracious, legendary appetite, right? Like legendary. There's not many people that can take me in an eating contest. So for me, it's never been a concern if I'm eating enough. But what I teach, notice I don't tell people to eat less. It's less often. I tell people they got to build their appetite, their capacity to eat. It's better to play around with the foods that you're eating, okay? So it's not that you're eating less. Now, the protein issue. Protein is more anabolic than the other macronutrients. I'm huge on having a lot of carbohydrates. Now, if you think about this, again, thinking outside the box. My first coach I ever hired, who basically, if anybody would ever have a PhD in bodybuilding, it was Scott Abel. Scott taught me many, many things when it came to nutrition and training and mindset and just philosophy on life, mind, body, spirit. Scott's great as well. Look him up, Scott Abel. But when we think about it, right, if one of the things Scott told me early on is if you're having enough of the protein-sparing macronutrients, mainly carbs, I'm a big fan of taking in excess fat. I think it's pretty much useless and makes us fat and can lead to insulin resistance when you combine this stuff. Then the protein can do its job. People that think you need to have super high amounts of protein to gain muscle are mistaken. They haven't tried another way. I used to eat between 300 and 400 grams a day when I was competing. A day of animal protein, no shakes. Very hard to do, right? Now, that's about what I have on a weekly basis. I don't measure anything, weigh anything, but I've measured for so many years, for 15, 16, almost 2 decades. So I know how much I'm eating, what's in it, and all that. I don't really concern myself with it, though. If you're getting a minimum protein, and let's just say, throw a number out there that I think will cover the basis for most people. Again, if you're getting enough good carbohydrates, if you're getting 60 grams a day, your needs are met. You're good to go. It's when you try to use protein as an energy source, when you do something like carnivore, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And I did carnivore way before they called it carnivore, back in the mid 2000s. It was carnivore and coconut oil. Talk about a gross eating experience. But you don't need nearly as much as you've been told. There's many weeks, especially when I'm cutting down, where I go vegetarian. I'm not telling you to be vegetarian, but there are impacts to what you eat. The protein myth is just that. It's a myth. And I challenge you to try what I'm telling you. But go back to what I'm saying about the training. You got to train properly to put on muscle. Now, a couple more things with this. With training. 3 things, right, that I have in my muscle camp program. Time under tension. Charles Pollock, one of my other personal mentors, who passed away as well, but Charles was genius. Like, I've learned from the best, in my opinion, that have ever lived in this field, directly from them. Louis Simmons, Jay Butler, who's a Division I strength coach of the year, NFL and collegiate strength coach for a couple decades, interned for Jay back in 2003. We became good buddies. We always talked training. Time under tension was something Charles taught me. The set should last between 30 and 70 seconds if you want to stimulate muscle growth. 30 and 70 seconds. That's a long time. Most people, their set is going to last 15 to 20 seconds. Just observe in the gym or time yourself. So you can control the tempo. The negative is a great way to train and stimulate muscle damage so it comes back bigger and stronger, or just set the clock. When I do my spirit sets of squats, which is a whole another animal when it comes to putting on muscle, because it's a global response, not a localized, like let me train my biceps. Maybe I'll touch on that in a second. When I set the clock, my spirit set is an 8-minute set of squats with the safety bar, about 160 pounds these days. And it's brutal, but the whole body grows. My back takes on a new development when I really start hammering that. So time under tension, volume, which is your traditional, sets times reps times weight. You can manipulate that. And then intensity. If you look up Dorian Yates, legendary Mr. Olympia, Mike Mentzer, the Mentzer brothers, heavy duty training, they would do one all-out set. They would warm up, one all-out set. And Mike would only train twice a week. I only train twice a week now. I do something every day, but I'm only in the gym Friday and Saturday. Yet I managed to maintain muscle, no problem. And I could put on muscle if I so desired, just knowing these principles, right? Right now, where I'm at in life, I don't really have a desire to walk around at more than 225 pounds. Feel good where I'm at. I have many clients that do want to put on muscle, and that's what they do. It all plays together, right? You drain the system, expand, drain, expand. The pendulum, the slingshot theory, pull it back, boom. We use insulin to our advantage. Limit it most of the time for fat loss. When it's time to spike insulin in the feast time of the day, feast time of the weeks, we want to use insulin to make the muscle grow. So you have those 3 components as far as training. And then what are your expectations? How much muscle you think you can put on? If you put on 2 pounds of muscle, let's say you've been training for a few years. Obviously, everything's a new stress when you first start training. It's not that hard. As you keep training now, I've been training since 1997. It gets harder to come up with new stressors, right? It's not easy to put on muscle. But if you put on 2 pounds of muscle a year, let's say you're already lean, you got to be lean first, right? Or that shouldn't be the goal initially. Like my guys do both simultaneously, but the goal is always let's get your body fat where it should be first. But 2 pounds of muscle on a lean frame, that's 8 quarter-pounders slapped on you. So keep this in perspective. When these guys say they bulk and put on 20, 30, 40 pounds, most of it's fat guys, fat and fluid. They're fooling themselves. And they go to cut down and they look exactly the same. So I would not be taking advice from most people when it comes to putting on muscle. And then another thing, prisoners. I've long studied these guys in prison that get jacked. How do they do it? They're eating piss poor quality meals, not eating a lot. Could it be that they're focused on their training and they have more time to train than at any other point in their life? And they have a reason for it, right? The more muscle they have, the more intimidating they look, the less people are going to mess with them. You got to have the right reason. Remember, it's a war. When you're going to put on muscle, it's all out battle. You got to be ready to do battle. Get in there, hit it, do it right, follow all these things. And that's really it, guys. That's it. Build your capacity to eat, train right. Now, if you want the free training program, we'll put the link down below. Click it, download it. You'll get on my email list. So that's a great thing, too. I put out 5 emails a week, informative emails about my philosophy in life and training and fitness, nutrition, health, conspiracies. But get the workout, try it. Let me know what you think. I hope this helps bring you some clarity. It's not as much about what you eat as it is setting up the right internal anabolic hormonal environment to pack on muscle. When you do that over time, you'll put on muscle. What are your expectations? Don't think you're putting on 10 to 20 pounds of muscle in a year, guys. All right, thanks for tuning in. Like it, leave a comment, leave a question, subscribe so you don't miss anything I'm putting out, and hit the notification button so you don't miss anything the Panda Man's putting out. Later, guys.